Well, I don't think I'm alone in my level of excitement for James Mangold's Swamp Thing. We know the Swamp Thing is a part of the DCU Chapter 1, and now the director has chimed in a little bit and talked about how he got the role and what his intentions are for the project. So let's break it down. Well, if you remember correctly, right after James Gunn announced Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters and detailed the whole slate, Logan director James Mangold dropped a Swamp Thing picture on Twitter, leading to a ton of speculation. Now, a couple weeks later, we learned that he would indeed take up the helm of the Swamp Thing movie. Although it's currently unclear where he'll fit that project in, because he's also pretty busy developing Dawn of the Jedi over at Lucasfilm, along with his upcoming Bob Dylan biopic. Now, it's pretty clear based on James Gunn's dates, though, that this project is in the not-so-distant future, and is likely already a big part of Mangold's life. Now, recently he was talking with Variety, where he dove into some details about the upcoming project, and how he views the project as it fits into the larger DC world. In that article, he said, "While I'm sure DC views Swamp Thing as a franchise, I would be viewing it as a very simple, clean, gothic horror movie about this man/monster. I've been toying for years with the idea of making a kind of Frankenstein movie." Now, if you're familiar with Swamp Thing, this is actually a pretty good way to describe it, and honestly, Mangold is a great storyteller, and I think he might be a really good fit for this project. The Swamp Thing's history is complex, but at its core, it is basically a Frankenstein kind of movie, with a man transformed into a monster and dealing with the fallout and adventures that spawn off of that. Now, quite honestly, it's impossible to me to think that DC Studios would want to take a character like Alec Holland, aka the Swamp Thing, and make it one and done. So chances are this movie will be a launching platform for the Swamp Thing to be part of a greater DCU. Many fans have suggested that he could be laying the framework for a Justice League Dark, but honestly, when you look back to the first Iron Man movie, doing that with Swamp Thing is what makes a lot of sense. You tell a standalone tale, you make it a good movie, and then you just give one little nugget at the end of the project, leading to the next bigger thing. This obviously could be in the form of a post-credit scene or something similar, but it's not too hard for everybody to get what they want here. Now, Mangold also talked about how he got the job, and according to the article, he just, and I quote, put in a friendly call once he found out Gunn and Safran would be taking charge of the DCU. This sounds like to me once he found out they were running the show, the talk started up immediately, and way back when he dropped that picture on Twitter, that was probably when either the process started, or he found out Gunn and Safran were down for him to direct the project. I think Swamp Thing fans should be pretty happy with all of this news. Mangold is great, and all of us are still reeling from the short-lived TV series on the DC Universe that got scrapped due to some budget constraints a few years ago. Many fans were super upset about that series cancellation. We talked about it a lot on this channel, and seeing the Swamp Thing return to live action, this time in theaters, is absolutely fantastic news. How the Swamp Thing fits into the greater DC Universe, though, we're gonna have to wait and see.